All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Justin and Jonathan. We're from CBC Youth Group, talking about some high level stuff as far as what our youth group is. And so today we got John here talking about what discipleship groups are. Just to give you a real quick thing, what we try to do here at CBC is a thing called discipleship groups, or in short, we call it DGs. This is more of a small group type of thing, and every youth is actually part of one, right? And so it's based off of gender plus kind of high school or middle school, and it's always led by a leader. And so we do this every year. I think we've been doing this for how long, John? Like,
it's been 3 years now.
Has it really?
Yeah, since I was a sophomore.
Man, okay. So we've been doing it for about 3 years. We think we're going to keep doing it. I think it's a good thing. I think for people who either don't know or we're trying to understand what DGs are, John, what's it been like for the 3 years for you? Like what's a typical group look like? How's your experience with DGs and stuff?
Well, I mean, versus the typical Sunday school, which we had been doing before, I would say it's just very different from that. I mean, in my experience, what we would do is we'd have a lot of sharing time. And in that time, we would just share about, what's been up in our life. We'd share about school. We'd share about our problems. And in that, it just allowed us to get closer, at least in our DG. And I'm glad because we all got closer to each other in that time. And then we also did, like Sunday school, we did Bible time or like devotionals, and we would take a passage and then dissect it, and then we learn more. So I think DGs is effective. Would you rather have on a Sunday, right? Because I think what we did was we moved our Sunday school to Friday nights, and then we replaced Sundays with DGs. What are the benefits and the cons to like big, massive structure change? I think the benefits is just getting closer to your brothers and sisters in the youth group. At least in Sunday school, it would just be you on Sundays, at least you'd go, you would just learn. You could passively learn or actively learn, but you wouldn't really get closer to really any of your peers. But I think with DGs, that definitely helps. I think the cons is just, I don't know, it's just how much you buy into DGs. Because if you don't buy in, you're not going to get anything out of it.
And I think that's another distinctive, right? We said DGs isn't just a Sunday thing. I think we meet on Sundays as like official DG time. But I think the purpose was that you would extend Sundays to the rest of the week, and you'd actually go, hey, this is a group of guys that I'm going to try to do life with and try to do discipleship with, right?
Yeah.
So, it really took all of you guys to buy in. So what were some of the struggles then? Like, as you said, it only works if people buy into DGs. So if you were to give advice to like other people, like what would you do?
My advice is, just to buy in. I don't know how you could do that in many ways. It could just be simply making sure to send text in the group chats, or making sure you appear on Sundays, and making sure you're sharing like important things that are happening in your life, and not just, I don't know, as I said, like your bad grades in school. Cause we want to know that, but like, it's not as important as learning about other stuff. So those are just the important things. Cause if you don't text in the group chat, then we just don't know, if you're alive or not.
Yeah. So you've been in there for 3 years. Do you have like did you know exactly what DGs was supposed to be about, or do you still have questions about the purpose and all that type of stuff?
Coming in, we did those CGs, the community groups, I believe.
Which was mixed gender and mixed everything.
Yeah. So, I had a certain idea, I'd say. I feel like with just your own gender, and I guess I think it was just high school. Community groups was all ages, I believe.
Yeah. That was an experiment. Okay.
But yeah, DG's was just high school, so that made it a little more relatable. So I believe I had an idea of what it was like, but going in and doing it yeah, it was good.
What do you think some questions that either new people are trying to ask or people who are like, what is this DG thing are asking? What questions do you think they're coming up with?
Um, they're probably thinking, I guess, how will it help in my walk with God, or
Yeah.
how will it aid my growth? Because I think one of the things, at least I would see sometimes, is just like, oh, all they do is play games, or like, and in my head, I'm like, oh, how does that help? I guess at least like spiritually.
Okay. So how would you answer that?
I'm on the community side. I believe that helps you at least get closer in that sense. Like
Yeah.
you're becoming friends or at least companions with other guys.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, especially like, okay, so I think there's this balance, right? If you do games every single week and that's all you're doing, and like offline, you're playing games as well, I think that's maybe going, okay, well, maybe you've kind of missed the purpose of not just DGs, but church in general. But I think on the other side, if you're just always kind of like, okay, we're just studying, we're just praying, then it doesn't become like real almost, you know? And so I think you need both. And so I would say for a healthy DG or even like a church community, you're going to need a balance of like, and again, it's not just games. I think games is supposed to build the bridge of relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And I think, and I've heard for your group, like, it's not just you guys are playing games, but I mean, at one point you're starting to challenge each other. You're trying to talk smack to one another. And you're starting to like see each other as like friends. And I think part of DGs is to go, hey, you know, it's at church, but we're real people too, you know, like we're trying to build real people friendships, and we're talking about stuff that's affecting all of our life. And we were like, in the church, where can we have these relationships? And we were going, well, if you just show up on Fridays or you just show up on Sundays for Sunday school, you can't really build that too much. And DG's kind of forced us to go, hey, how do we do this together? But then also not neglect the spiritual element to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, on top of that, what we were talking about there, I know every other month, I believe, on fifth Sundays, we called it Lit Week, and I know we'd go out and
Lit Week, yeah,
we'd go out and do something fun. So, I mean,
what were some of the stuff that you guys did?
What did we do?
Did you go eat?
I mentioned. Probably. The one thing I remember is I said it in Robert's thing, but we went out to play football one time because I know Ben really wanted to go play.
Nice.
So we went out to the field and we were doing like one-on-ones and stuff.
Nice.
I know we played golf.
Wait, one-on-ones as far as like you're challenging each other in sports, or like one-on-ones as in like you're talking?
In sports. In sports, yeah.
Okay.
And then I know we played mini golf one time behind the parsonage.
Nice.
We did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's, and I'm sad that we can't do that right now, you know, because of the quarantine thing. But I think we purposely try to say every fifth Sunday or every once in a while, right, to just do quote unquote normal stuff. Like just go hang out, like get off campus and do stuff with your people. Just because, again, I think we're trying to make sure people realize, hey, being a Christian isn't just showing up to church. It's like trying to live more and more like Christ, but as a real human being in society, you know? And you need a group of people to do that with. And I feel like that's what DG's, the benefit of that was.
Yeah.
Okay. What elements are we missing as far as talking about DGs, you think?
Well, I know I'm going to be a college freshman. And so I guess the next step for me would be, I believe, a college sponsor. Yeah. So I guess how do you become that? And then also what would be the roles of a college sponsor?
Yeah. So I would say to you and to any other current college students, it's not a mandatory thing, right? As you graduate out of the youth group, you're still a member of the church, technically, right? So as a member of the church, we always say, hey, one of our core values is you need to be plugged in and you need to serve. And so one of the ways to serve is with the youth group. Now, I will always tell you, like, I don't need you to be another youth because you're not. I want you to serve if there's two things. Number one, you're still a member of this church and you still love the Lord. And number two, if you see a need and you love youth, right? Like if you want to see them grow, because here's the thing, and this is, if you become a college sponsor, I think one thing you'll learn very quickly, and it's difficult, is that you're going to have to really transition from being a peer and a friend to more of a leader and a discipler. I'm not saying that you can't be a friend, but man, as a discipler, as a college sponsor, you're kind of responsible for helping them grow, which means not just teaching, but also calling them out. And a lot of times, there's the fear of going, hey, that's a tough responsibility. But I'm saying, if you want to help out with a youth group as someone older, then do that. Now, what that's going to look like historically, right? Without this virus thing, historically, if you were to go off campus and you're still trying to be a college sponsor, we would ask you, right, if you're off campus, to check in with your DG every week, right? And so that's talking to your adult leader about, hey, what did y'all do this week? What's going on with the boys? And then for you, right, maybe take one of the students in the week and pray for them, check up on them, call them, ask them how they're doing. And then I would say, and I think this is one thing we're trying to do, is as you are in your college small group, right, as you're on your campus and you're talking with your college buddies, that you're getting them involved with going, hey, today in our college small group, can we pray for one of my boys, right? They're having a test on Friday and they're a freshman, they're freaking out or whatever. Can we as a college ministry be praying for my guy? And so what it does is it actually connects the college group back to the youth group and to go, hey, I'm not just a college guy doing my own thing, but I'm connected back to my own church. And I think that's kind of really what I want for you,
Gotcha.
Yeah. I would say as we're wrapping this up, what are some of your advice? What are some advices that you would give the current youth? Whether give some to the high schoolers and then give some to the middle schoolers as they're jumping into DGs, and also knowing that, hey, this is a virtual stuff now. Like, what are some hot takes from J. Gaw for this year for our youth group?
Gotcha. I feel like I gave my advice in my senior speech, but I mean, essentially for high schoolers, I would say don't fake it. You don't have to fake that you're always okay or you're always happy. As we were saying in DGs, we always have time to share. So in that time to share, I mean, it may be scary at first. Those people, I mean, you may not be as close to them, but I know they're willing to listen and they're willing to pray for you. So, I mean, if there's something wrong, just don't be afraid to share it. And then for the middle schoolers, it's been a while. That's
like, okay, because here's the thing. A lot of the sixth graders, right? They're just like, this is not typical Sunday school, right? They're jumping into this new system. What are some basic things that you would just tell them to be like, hey, to maximize your experience in DGs, do this or don't do this?
Gotcha. Yeah. But for me, I know entering the youth group, I was always like, oh, youth is just so much fun. And that's basically the only thing I'm going to take out of it. It's just so much better than
elementary school.
Yeah, just elementary.
And worship.
Yeah, like that's just so babyish. But I would say for the youth group, that's just an important stepping stone in just your faith and growing up too. So I would say take advantage of everything and don't take any of it for granted.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Hey man, I appreciate you talking with us. Hopefully if you guys have other questions, just shoot J. Gaw an email. He's been through
Yeah.
7 years of the youth group, but also 3 years of DGs.
Yep.
So he's experienced the full extent of it. And then, so if you guys want, send him an email and ask him some questions. But this is our discussion on DGs. Feel like we've covered most of it, but again, if you have more questions, let either of us know, and hopefully this helps.